I was in the back of the ambulance. The paramedics' questions were muffled by layers of static and high-pitched ringing in my ears. Even if I could hear, I wouldn't have been able to answer. Fragments of memory swirled in my head. The lake of shadow, the tendrils of light, my client's bloodied face. I couldn't tell where last night ended and this morning began. The ambulance screamed to a stop, and they rolled my client's gurney past me. The lights overhead dimmed. The static quieted. For a moment, I thought I'd slipped away, out of myself. Energy crackled and hummed around me. I closed my eyes. When I opened them, I was in a hospital room, sitting in a too-warm chair that stuck to my skin. I heard the same buzz of fluorescent lights as the ambulance. The sterile white of the overhead bulb seemed to breathe, dimming and brightening with a sickening regularity. There were no paramedics, just my client. "You made it," he said, laying in the bed, eyes closed. The air was oddly still. It was the most stifling hospital room I'd ever been in, probably near 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I dabbed my forehead with a sleeve before asking, "Did I black out? I stopped, unsure of how to explain what just happened. "Traveling," he finished for me. "How am I here?" My words echoed in the room, which was devoid of sound other than the buzzing in my head. I realized there was no beeping of machines or voices in the hallway. He shrugged, straightening himself in the bed. "You know anything about electricity? How everything in you is controlled by these..." He paused, searching for the right word. "Impulses." I stared at him. "You sound like my high school science teacher." The lights in the room flickered but stayed on. The air felt charged, like static building before a lightning strike. My skin prickled as I noticed a faint glow beginning to outline my client. "Why is this happening? Why did you come to me?" "I've been thinking about that. I'm starting to wonder what's really running this place." "What place? The hospital?" "No. Where we've been. Where we go when we travel." The buzzing in the air seemed to growl at his musings. "I don't think it likes when we talk about it." The lights flared and his eyes glowed an electric blue. He went stiff in his hospital bed. Over his cries and pained groaning, the buzzing in the room rose until I could feel it clattering in my teeth. His outline began to blur, threads of white crawling from his skin, branching like a crown of thorns. I reached for him, and the moment my hand touched his shoulder, the room went black and was now lit only by the beams of light wrapping around him. I felt all the muscles in my forearm contract painfully. I tried to tear myself from him, but it was as though our skin had been welded together. His flesh began to blacken and blister where the light had touched him. I could feel the heat as the smell of seared meat assaulted my nose. As each electric bolt was searching for somewhere to land, the light became blinding. I could see his bones glowing beneath his skin, red as blood. They were quickly consumed along with the rest of his body. He was mouthing something to me, but I heard nothing. I thought I could make out the words, "Don't," and "Take me," before he dissolved into a diffuse light that blanketed the room. My hand was grasping at the air above his bed. The only evidence of my client was a dent in the sheets. Tears streamed down my face as I curled up in the hospital bed where my client had lain. The mattress was freezing, but I didn't care. I was too overwhelmed. The world blurred around me as I felt a pang of motion sickness. I shut my eyes and heard shouting. It was like I had cotton in my ears. A constant beeping bounced around my skull. I opened my eyes. I was being wheeled through a hallway with medical staff surrounding me. The beating of my pulse behind my eyes created a pressure so strong that I clamped them shut. The voices of doctors and nurses flitted through my delirium between bouts of beeping and buzzing. I caught snippets of conversation, but I still couldn't determine how or why I had come to be here. The poke and burn of a needle in my forearm caused a numbness that radiated through my whole body. Just before losing consciousness, I thought I heard the voice of my client.